Charlie.
This isn't live.
Yeah.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, we're live.
Oh, we're live.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Tracy Guilford, and this is the Groveland Cable TV Advisory Board meeting of Thursday, June 6, 2019. I'll just ask my other board members to please introduce themselves. So, Charlie, if you can go to a wide shot. Yep. All right.
Beth Rose, resident of Groveland, 792 Salem Street.
Ed Watson.
Carl Judson.
All right. First thing on our agenda was public comment, and seeing that we don't have anyone for public comment, we will move on. Item number 2 is new equipment. I would like Chris to give us a report on his meeting with our sound consultant.
Sure. So I met with Michael Reidiger of Unique Media Systems. He was someone that came highly recommended from Rob Carbone. I had him in to look at, the room, look at the PA situation, diagnose, why, what was going on with that, and also make improvements on the whole microphone situation, knowing that we wanted to stay wireless and, the problems that we've been having with, people that turn their heads when they speak or that push the mics out, beyond what the range is supposed to be. So he spec'd out a couple of wireless boundary layer microphones and recommended that we put those in. He also recommended an amplifier that will properly amplify the sound that is supposed to go to the PA, because that's something that HB really didn't get right. He also recommended a pair of speakers that we're going to put on the wall that, the amplifier will be loud enough to go through those. And that'll also give us a way for the projector, people who come in with video presentations or audio in their presentations, they'll be able to tap into that system and use that. And if the Council on Aging or, other groups using this room want to, use that, that'll be a possibility if we want that. I don't know. But that's a capability that we're going to have. So there's that, and then also replacing the two SMC 810s. They're 5 years old. We're having intermittent problems with both the follow lights on the mics, which helps us adjust which, who is speaking, and if we need to go louder or softer, that stopped working on the main one. So I want to replace both of those. HB had recommended going to SMC 820s, and I felt that wasn't probably what we wanted to do because those don't have physical fader knobs on them. And I felt like that would be problematic for, the theory with those was that, we wouldn't have to touch them, but oftentimes that's not how it ends up going in practice. So I didn't want to lose something we were familiar with. These SMC 810s are rock solid. We've gotten a long time out of them, before. I think we replaced one out of the two that we currently have, but the other one's still original to before I was even here. So
I just brought you another one.
great.
Right over there, Lena.
They're great pieces of hardware, and they're simple enough to operate. So he's going to put those two in and replace those and start fresh on that. Is there any questions on
If
what?
everyone looks at the bid, there's two components to that. There's the yellow highlighted, which are optional items that are suggested but maybe not needed at this time. The only thing I see that what's in yellow that I would like to see us consider would be connecting the projector audio to the sound system.
Could we explain that, how that works a little better?
Yeah, what, do you have a specific
The,
question, or?
To connect the projector audio to the sound system, what are you talking about there?
So when people come in and use the projector, we have a box over there that they plug into. Oftentimes, there's not an audio component to that, or, it's not functional the way it was put in. So we're going to give them a way to plug into, an audio input that then goes over the two wall-mounted speakers. So if you come in with a movie, like if the Council on Aging came up with a movie, they'd be able to hook the DVD player sound inputs into that, or, their laptop input into that, and go through the speaker system. Right now, they were begging me for months and months and months to get something like that, because they wanted to do the movies on the projector, and we didn't have anything. It wasn't, the PA was not designed to do that kind of thing. It was really only designed for light speech. And we had a million problems with it, as we well know. So that's that aspect of that.
Okay.
And even like when the superintendent was doing the school presentation, we had to sort of mic his laptop to get it to go over the PA, and, there's a much better way to do it, so.
So having said that, Chris, looking at the bid,
Yeah.
are you suggesting then that we take everything that's in white and add just the optional $300 for connecting the projector audio to sound system? So it would be the 9,100 plus 300
Would be
for a total of
$9,400.
$9,400?
Yeah, that's what I figured we would go with. I
Start
mean,
with for now.
I'm not against the soundproofing he wanted to do, but it sounded like we had some questions on whether, he told me it was fireproofed and all and rated. I mean, it would make the room sound better, but that's something we could do later. I think the microphones are the most important thing.
See,
so-
before I do the soundproofing, just, my opinion on that, I would like a little background on the soundproofing. I would like the certification that it is fire resistant. Before I would want to change the look of this room, I would want to run it by Denise in the
Sure.
Board of Selectmen.
Yeah, I think that'd be a good idea.
And
so.
I would also run it by the fire chief, and I would also want from this installation that they have done with this soundproofing material, I want to see what it looks like before it's installed here.
Yep.
So that
So I
would
think it
be
makes sense to
my
wait on that.
reservations on the soundproofing.
I hear you on that.
Is anyone else disagree or want to add to that?
Makes sense.
It's something you can always add later. It's not like
Yeah.
it's intrinsic to the sound system
Yeah.
itself. It's
Right.
just more like soundproofing.
Right.
Yep.
Like I say, to change the look of the room without consulting Denise or the Board of Selectmen, I would be very uncomfortable doing. They need to be involved in that.
Any thoughts on, instead of wireless mics, wired mics?
I mean, I'd love to do that, but when we put this system in, I was told by the current board then that it had to be wireless. It would be something that we'd have to set up and tear down for every meeting, and the room changes a lot. So, I mean, I'm not against that if that's the way, we're allowed to go. I was told to not do that
Would
explicitly.
there be better audio?
Probably it would.
Yeah, it's always a direct connection. It's always a little bit better than.
Yeah,
relying
yeah,
on-
that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Is there a chance that you could get one on a demo, to borrow it, to see how it was gonna work? See how much of a problem it is to connect, because you're probably gonna have to tape some of the wires, just to see if it's better audio than these wireless mics.
Yeah.
Ed, the only thing I'd like to offer, since, we had the sound consultant come in and look at this, we're going to try the 2 new microphones.
There's actually 4 there,
Oh,
Tracy.
4?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. 4 new microphones that will pick up better. Because the one thing that we have to remember, the microphones we have do a great job as long as people are actually using the microphone. If they have them within, the parameters that they're supposed to be, and as long as they don't carry on side conversations, the microphones that we're going to buy, the 4, will pick up the sound better. But the only disadvantage I believe we may have with those will be that people who tend to rustle papers, people who decide to open, candy or mints, you might hear anyone tapping pens or pencils, it will pick up everything, people coughing, but it should give us better audio for the meeting. So I would like to proceed with that, since we had the sound engineer, and then if that is still an issue, we can look at going to the wired mics, but
Yeah, and my understanding is that it picks up who is speaking. So, the other 3 shouldn't be picking up when the person who is speaking is. I did ask him about paper rustling because I know that was a concern. My feeling is that, yeah, it would totally pick that up, but maybe if it has this, system of figuring out who's actually speaking, then that's mitigated through that. He told me he felt that wouldn't be an issue, so.
No, right now you got 5 mics here, and you're talking about going to 4 instead of 5.
So, well,
They cover
it
the
wouldn't
wide
be
range.
instead, it would be in addition to. So
Oh, you
what,
mean addition?
what it would be, if this makes sense, is, there'd be a boundary mic here, there'd be a boundary mic here, there'd be a boundary
Wide
mic
shot,
here,
Charlie.
and a boundary mic there. So that would, I think, do a better job of people that have a habit of, instead of talking directly into the mic, they talk like this for half the meeting. These aren't designed to pick up sound like this for half the meeting, and I think that's where a lot of our problem lies. So that's why I'm inclined to give these a shot,
Yeah, boundary mics are not like.
especially with the,
this.
like
They're
the
they pick up
planning
the
board and the ZBA, we had a lot of trouble. If you happen to catch last night's zoning board meeting, it was fantastic. I had to turn down the audio for the first time I can ever remember having to do that. And everyone, basically did use the mics in a distance that they're designed to be used. So
Okay.
that's not on yet, but it will be tomorrow, so.
Okay. So I think everyone comfortable with the $9,400? I think we should proceed, and with the only caveat that you would coordinate with Denise Aging, so
Yep.
when the work is done, it doesn't interfere
Sure.
with other
always
things.
do that, yeah.
Okay, well, I just don't want that to be forgotten. So could I have a motion?
I move to approve of the proposal for the improvements upon the sound system in the meeting room to the total of $9,400.
Second? Do they have a second?
I'll second it.
Good. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Glad you met up with Michael and it all worked out.
What's the time frame?
I think he said a couple weeks, so depending on, what's going on in this room and when we can get him in here, as soon as he can get the equipment, and as soon as I can get a signed PO or, however we do it through Denise,
Yeah,
I should
just
be able
coordinate with
to
her,
get it
'cause
over to her tomorrow.
I
and-
did speak with her. We do have money in the budget for
Okay,
that.
great.
Excellent.
He said to initial, Denise will initial, but,
Yeah.
initial next to the optional thing and just sign the PO and we should be good to go, so.
Okay, good. Under old business, I just wanted to bring up that we have successfully updated to the 2 new bulletin boards and the new server. Chris, do you want to?
Yeah, HB did a great job with this. Like, they really, really did a great job with this project. They gave me finally a way that I can show whoever's coming in from Comcast exactly what we're putting out, both in audio and video, before it gets to them and when it comes back. And I've never had that in the past, and that's always been a major difficulty for showing them, hey, this is what we're sending you. We are sending you valid signals within your, designated range. And so now I can finally do that in 2 seconds if they walk in there. So it's great, and I'm really happy with it. And they updated, you know, how I get to the bulletin board stuff and things like that a little bit better, and sort of condensed everything and updated a bunch of the stuff in the racks. I'm happy with the new Cablecast interface. It's radically different than what we had, because what we had was about 10 years old. So I'm still getting up to speed on that, but it's a big improvement, I think. Yeah.
All right, good, thank you. Also, under old business, I just want to apologize, I've been kind of busy with work. I plan on getting together with Rob, and we will finish the questions for the online survey. My target ideally would be to have our online survey up by beginning of July, have it up for the month of July, and then have the month of August to discuss what we get for feedback. I would encourage any board members to also, as you're talking to people, ask them for feedback. And then once we have our survey up online, though, encourage people to participate in the online survey, because the online survey will break it down, the results, and it'll be easier to discuss the information. So Rob and I will plan on getting together before our next board meeting to finish that and then approve that. Under new business, does anyone else have anything they want to discuss under old business?
No.
All right. New business, I just want to make the board aware, I have received a draft contract from Comcast. So I will be sending that out to board members so they can review that over the next few weeks and months. There will be things added and deleted, so if you're comparing the old contract with the new contract, I encourage all board members to make notes as to what they would like to see changed. It will be, you know, as I say, because it's a working draft, it's a fluid document, so it is not a final document until we sign it. All right? Does anyone else have any business they want to propose under new business? Okay. Having said that, Chris, do you have anything else you would like to address before the board?
So I guess, you know, I'm still working on the streaming stuff. I didn't forget about that. I had made 4 calls into our IT, town IT provider this week to try and, you know, clarify the last thing they sent me and stuff like that. I didn't really get answers in time. I think we can get the head-end encoders up and running for about $500 or $600, but again, I didn't receive what I asked for from them in time. I knew we wouldn't want to deal with that tonight. So, you know, I wanted to get through our busy season of town meeting and candidates night and all that, but I'm still hoping to get that, you know, working with the little bit of IT work we need in the head end. And then they had come back, if you'll remember, with a much sort of larger project than we had anticipated for this room, because they had to run cabling from the head end to here to support the or channel boxes, and they needed to up the speed of this room, and they needed to do some other stuff, and I think that was about $12,000. So that was a little more than we were expecting, and I think the way to go for right now is to get the one in the head end up, because that will require the least amount of work. We have to get a couple more static IPs and, you know, install something over there, and then that's basically ready to go. And then we can, you know, at least start streaming the channels if we still want to do that.
Yeah, well, my suggestion, if you can get a report from the IT person
Yeah.
as to exactly break it down, what is needed, what it's going to cost, because you know, I know a lot of people would like to see the streaming, but if we can have it exactly what needs to be done, what it's gonna cost, and then, you know, we can touch base with the selectmen and say,
Yep.
we didn't anticipate this, do you want to still see this happen?
Sure. Yeah, I did ask them 3 times this week to clarify the last proposal they had sent me. And they basically just sent me the same proposal over again. And I asked them twice, you know, what if we want to do, I did talk to them on the phone. I said, you know, I think it makes sense if you're telling me it's only going to be 600 to get the one in the head end working. I think that's what I'd like to propose, at least for this meeting, if, you know, if we did that. But, you know, I wasn't comfortable going ahead with something when I wasn't getting responses. So that's, I think, ready for the next time we meet or whatever, if they can answer my questions about what they sent me instead of just sending me the same thing again. So I think we're looking at 12,500 or 600 to do both, but
Is that a one-time charge, or is that yearly?
I believe, and again, I don't have it in front of me because I knew we didn't want to get into that tonight.
Okay, we'll put it
But
on.
I believe we're increasing the monthly bill from Comcast for speed or IPs from like 69 to 75 a month. So over a year, that adds up to, I can't remember the exact figure,
Okay.
but it's a little bit of an increase, but it's
Well-
mostly running
Yeah.
the IP cables to this room, you know, the drops that we needed, the labor to do that. He had wanted to do some firewall stuff, you know, it's not a bad idea, but again, we weren't, you know, anticipating all of that, so.
Okay, we'll put that on our agenda for another meeting
Yeah,
then.
okay.
All right, does anyone else have anything else they'd like to address before the board tonight?
No, I haven't got any.
Okay, and having said that, I'm going to make a motion that we adjourn at 6:52 PM.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you and good night, everyone.
Thanks.